What's up, everyone? Another episode of Trail Culture. Today is going to look a little bit different in that we are going to get to know Michael Baker at the same time live, because this was a bit of a last minute thing. Had to get Bakes in before holiday and he disappears back into the mountains. So very stoked to have him here. But there has been little prep on my side, but luckily I've had a couple of encounters with him. His name's come up and we just had to get him in. So Bakes, it's really good to have you on the podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Keen to chat.
Keen to chat about, there are a lot of things. So just some background. This guy, super adventurer. I think our official meeting was at the Jonkershoek gate after you were doing some reikis of Hoofeester, which you did, was it 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Comrades weekend.
Comrades weekend, yeah, nice. The boys had FOMO, so they decided to go and do
That was our
Hoofeester.
comrades.
And yeah, so that's just kind of context of where I met him, and then had the cool opportunity to support a bit on the day with Kirst, your wife, who's also just a legend. So yeah, Mike is going to talk to us about a lot of things, but just to start off, Bakes, tell us all the way from KZN, who are you? How did you find yourself in the trail space?
Yeah, maybe try and dial back here, but I think, when I was in school living in KZN, the Comrades Marathon, that's the big daddy in KZN.
Yeah.
And it's just something you're born knowing and wanting to do, and someone's uncle or dad has done it, and he's just the biggest legend that week and the lead up and all that. And I did a lot of sports, obviously, in school. I think the second I left school, I was like, I want to do a Comrades Marathon. And then I discovered you had to be 20 to do it. So that was a bit of a setback.
Yeah.
And then just the whole world tells you can't do it because you're too young, you're too big, you're going to break your knees.
Wow.
And like the good old classics, like, yeah, your knees won't be the same. So anyway, started like a bit of road running. I had no cross-country background or anything like that. Did a couple 21s. Those were super scary and big, and I'll never forget those first couple of 21s. And then, yeah, I think I turned 20 or 21, whatever it was. Went to a bio because everyone was like, go to a bio before you do the Comrades. Like, they must clear you.
Yeah.
So I went to the bio, and the bio was like, yes, you're quite a big guy. You're young.
Yeah.
I would recommend waiting a couple of years. And I did it that year. So I did the Comrades, got absolutely punished, didn't really train hard for it. And then that just kind of led me into this magical world of ultra running and the pain cave. And then later on that year, never forget, did a random trail run, cursed my wife.
Yeah.
Took me to one in Scottsboro. Like, there's not even trails there.
Yeah.
I think it was like through sugarcane or whatever. And I was like,
oh, the good stuff.
this is quite cool.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of how the trail running started. And then,
no ways, Bakes.
yeah. And then a holiday in the Berg. I never forget the first time, like, driving to the Berg, not as a kid going to a resort, this time to go and see the Berg. And I never forget it. Like, we got out the car and I just looked at these mountains and I was like, man, this place is magical.
Yeah.
And my first kind of, I know you only knew the Berg from that one campsite you used to go to as a kid. That was the Berg.
Yes.
Like, Cobham was the Berg. And then started dialing into it, and there's caves, there's waterfalls, there's passes, and then there's the Big Daddy, the Grand Traverse, and that became my kind of obsession. And that's how it all started.
No way. So you were like, it's like a piece of string that you're unraveling. It's like as you pull, it's like more magic is just around the corner.
More magic, eh? Yeah, those early days, and I'm jumping all over here, but those early days in the Berg, I got punished, eh? I remember going to Mweni, which is quite a rugged place, and I had no maps, I had no GPS, I had absolutely nothing, and by myself, which is rule number 1, don't go by yourself. But I had no one with me, and I wanted to do Mafadi, just because I heard it's the highest peak in Southern Africa, and off I went. don't even know. I know where I've ended up now, but
Yeah.
I ended up like going up this random pass, but not even up the pass. I mean, over a saddle. I got to a dead end and there was shepherd's pursuits, and I was like, "Hey guys, where's my fighty?" And they literally laughed at me. I mean, now that I know where
Yeah.
I was not even
Not even
close to
close.
going to my fighty. And they kind of like pointed, and I climbed up a random saddle, no paths anymore. And
Yeah.
I got cliffed out and like had to
Yeah.
climb down
Brutal.
waterfalls, and like anyway, eventually got back and I got into this famous Mweni Road. It's like 5Ks. It's basically death. And I was done. I ran out of food, ran out of water. This was supposed to be like an 8-hour thing. I was out for like 10, 12 hours. Some guy came past on his horse and I was like, "Bro, I'm done." I was like, "I got 50 Rand. Can you give me a lift back?"
Yeah. On the horse.
I jumped on the back of this guy's horse, no saddle, pulled into him when he campsite, like thinking I'm a big hero for surviving this day on a horse like a cowboy. There's no one there. There's no signal. I couldn't tell anyone. Literally had to shower and go to bed, and
you're broken. You're done.
broken. And that was my first experience of the Bergen exploring. And then I realized, got to get a proper watch. Got to get the maps, and then started researching.
Yeah, and got to chat to some people who know and who've been. But I dig that you learn by hitting your head sometimes. It sounds like you started your running career like that with Comrades and your exposure to the trails.
Yeah, I think the best way to learn is by doing. There is a line, like especially with the Berg. Like if you look back, I could have got cliffed out and it could have been really bad. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot.
I was going to say, Bex, I think your line and other people's line is different, but we're going to get to that just now. And before we kind of get into more of the Berg and what you've done, just like looping it all the way back, I know that was kind of Comrades and running your first Comrades at such a young age was your intro into the endurance world, but I believe you're actually a very good hockey player. And so you did some running if you were chasing a ball. Yeah.
So I mean, I played hockey in school. I was a bit naughty in school. I'm not gonna lie. I think running probably saved me in a way, because I do kind of bounce all over the place and get distracted, and I always need something. So I mean, I remember in grade 10, I was actually with the guy who was my coach this week. So we were in Bloemfontein at RPT, which is a big tournament, and he tells the story. He said, "No, I had this guy on my team, and I remember he said everyone needs to do this run called a doggy, and the whole team needs to be in under 2 minutes. So obviously everyone goes out sprinting, and I just jogged next to the goalkeepers because the whole team needs to be under 2 minutes. It doesn't matter how quick you are, otherwise we get punished." And then as we got to the end, like I kind of jogged in front, and the coach just, he wasn't happy with me. And he said, if you don't want to like buy and go home, and I went home. And then I played rugby for a couple of years, and after school I went back to hockey and and then started coaching. Just because I thought hockey was quite tactical, and I think you can make a massive influence as a coach, where rugby, like the big guy wins. If you've got a massive guy in your team, you can win. So that's how I kind of fell in love with the hockey coaching aspect.
Very cool. Yeah, the strategy of hockey and the different skill sets for the different positions. I love it. Those are good days, hockey days. And Beg, so I know that you were coaching hockey, I mean, at a high level in KZN. I don't know which school exactly. I'm trying to remember what Chris told me. And then since you've kind of this is what brought you guys to this side of the world. So tell us a bit about that move and what's brought you to the Cape Trails.
So I've done a lot of coaching. I worked with national teams and clubs and all that. And then about 7 years ago, I moved to a school called Durban High School. Probably the worst hockey program in the country when I moved there. Like literally, there's a ranking system, and I think they were ranked last. Awesome headmasters and staff and all that kind of said, we will give you 5-6 years. You got all our support. Do what you need to do.
Very cool.
And then we finished last year. We were the second best hockey program in the country. So it took us 5-6 years. And I think that obviously got a bit of attention. always been my dream to work at Porus. I never forget I came here for a coaching course and I saw the old head of hockey just having coffee in the morning, walking to work, the mountains, and I was like, when I'm big one day, I want to work at Porus. And then the advert came up, their coach immigrated to Ireland, or their head of hockey put my name in their hat, just thought I'm still too young.
Yeah.
They're going to go for some big dog.
Yeah.
Obviously doubting yourself, not thinking you're a big dog. And then, through interviews and all that, got offered the job. This is huge. Kirsten and I spent our whole lives in KZN.
Yeah.
Durban High School, second best hockey program in the country, on the up.
Yeah.
Tough decision. And we went for one walk to the dam by Marty's, the Kotzenberg Dam
nice.
there, and we were just checking people running in the mountains and just everyone active and just like the energy from the trees. And we're like, what are we even thinking about? Let's just go and signed the contract, came, and it's been incredible.
Epic. We are so glad that you're here. I know a mutual friend of ours, Josh Raymer, you were like first 2 weeks there, and I saw Josh somewhere and he was like, dude, there's this guy who, and then your names like kept coming up, and there was actually somebody who DM'd me on Instagram ages ago, I think Fern.
Yes.
And she was like, listen, hey, I know you're in the Cape. There's this guy who's just moved there and his name's Michael Baker. You should talk to him. And then another random story, I'm at home. My parents live in the Eastern Cape in Port Alfred, and I've got a lot of mates who paddle at a high level, and they were paddling from PE to East London. They stop over, we all out for dinner. These are like the KZN hardcore. I mean, these folks can run 4:30 with boats on their shoulders. So they're good runners, they're good paddlers. And they chatting, and then they go, no, listen, they hear about the podcast and what I'm doing. They're like, dude, there's this guy, Michael Baker, who's moving. Like, you need to talk to him. He does all these things. So your name like came up a lot. And then when I met you at the gate, I was like, oh, it's Michael Baker. So yeah, it's really cool to have you here, and we're gonna get to it now. But I'm really excited about what you bring like to the space, and what you can share with us. I think about some deep mountain adventure. But before we do that, you have to quickly tell us the story, Bakes, of where did you and Kirst get married?
Yeah.
This is like the essence of two adventurous people finding each other.
Yeah, so Kirsten and I want to say we're different. So we had been together, yes, I could be wrong, but I want to say for like 10 years or something like that. And we don't like society and the rules, and we were like, why should we get married? Like, why does there have to be a rule? Like, we know we love each other and we're going to be together. Like, why do we need a rule? And anyway, we weren't too sure what we were doing. And I just remember we were in a car driving to my parents. It was a Wednesday. And I just said, should we just get married this weekend? And Kirst was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, we know we're going to do it. Like, we know we're going to be together. So should we just get married this weekend? She was like, oh, how's that possible? Like, we want to do something cool. So I was like, exactly. Let's do something cool.
Something cool.
Yeah. So anyway, we had dinner with my parents. We didn't tell anyone anything. And then we drove home. And in the drive home, we were like, okay, can we make this work? So our goal was Vitzi's Hook. See if the accommodation's available.
Yeah.
If it's available, phone our family, 2 or 3 friends. See if they're available. Like, if her mom's not available, should we get married? Like, those were the key points. Phone Vitzi's Hook. Yeah, we're available this weekend. So we're like, wow, this is cool. My parents available. Her parents available. Her mom had to move some stuff. Close friends, family available. So we're like, what? Okay, this is gonna happen.
All signs are pointing go. Yeah.
All signs are pointing go. And they were like, everyone knows we do this cool stuff, but like, do they know what this cool stuff is? Like, your mom and dad know you go for runs, but they don't really know what it entails or why we love the Berg. So we're like, cool. If you want to experience our wedding day, you got to climb the chain ladders and you have to watch us get married on the Amphitheatre. Like, the Berg it's got our heart, is a special place to us.
Yeah.
So we're like, if we ever get married, it's the Berg. We didn't think on the Berg.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're gonna make sure everyone does this. Obviously you can't get married on the amphitheater, so we did like a little ceremony with like a pastor and all that. I think it was on the Friday or Saturday.
So we're gonna make the pastor climb the tree
No,
ladder.
exactly. So we're like, yeah, there's a limit to this great idea. So we obviously did all the admin stuff.
Yeah.
But then there we were Saturday, everyone in the car arrived to Vitzi's, had this dinner, which was like, I don't know, like the wedding dinner, whatever those things are. Next day, we got everyone hiking to the top. My suit's packed, Kirsty's dress packed. My dad's planned a speech, so he was technically the, I don't know, the narrator or whatever you want to call it. And we got to, firstly, my mom, I mean, I don't think she's walked more than 5Ks her whole life, and now she's got to walk 8Ks to the top and 8Ks down.
Yeah.
And she hasn't been able to train for it. The reality is,
It's
we
this
told them,
weekend.
it's this weekend. But my mom, like, would never miss that. And I mean, just her experience. I mean, we were not even halfway to the chain ladders, and she's like, I'm done. She's literally like, this is our wedding day. My mom's saying, this is the worst day of my life. And I'm like, okay. But it was like, it's all part of like Kirsten and what we do. So like now we like getting my mom like to the top of the mountain, and it's like part of that whole experience. And obviously they all get to the top and you forget about all that pain and that stuff, and you're just like, wow. And like, I don't think my mom and dad and them would have ever seen the top of the amphitheater or the scarpin and all them. So they were like standing there, and then obviously Kirst like hid behind a rock and then comes out in her dress. And yeah, it was we couldn't have thought of a better way to do it.
Something totally different. I think it's great. I know Chris shared a bit of the story with me when we hiked up Swartbos Kloof the other day, and yeah, I think it's out of the box. It's different. It's non-conventional. There's only one other couple that I know who, Jacques Mouton and Claire, who are involved in the George Mutt and the Six Peaks. Don't know if you've met them, but epic couple, and they got married on Craddock Peak or George Peak. But yeah, same thing. Hiked up, dress suits, and I'm like, it's who they are, and I think it's who you guys are.
I mean, I think people lose it a bit. Weddings are about you and your person, and that is our place and our people, you know what I mean? So for us it was the perfect way.
And even just with your mom, with that being like such a tough thing for her to do, it's amazing if she doesn't want to miss your wedding. So what that motivation can do to get her to the top of the amphitheater.
Exactly.
What a legend.
So it's like, again, you dial back, you give someone a purpose, they can do anything. Maybe like my first Comrades, I did it because that guy said you can't do it. That was
your thing.
So like, it just kind of, that wedding day puzzled everything that is us, adventure, purpose, the berg.
That's epic. But shout out to Mrs. Baker. You go. Strong lady. Fakes, I actually want to link what you're saying now back to earlier. You mentioned like working with the hockey program and it taking, just remind me the name of the school you were at.
Durban High
School. It took 5 to 6 years. You said that now, and as you were talking about that, I was like, wow. I know that you coach as well. I mean, outside of so Base is a great hockey coach, but he also is recently coaching some runners, so endurance, road and trail, which is epic. And it's called The Bakery. I'll link it. It's epic. Michael Baker, The Bakery. People with cool surnames, it's actually unfair. I'm like,
it's a cheat code.
It's just epic, it's like a whole brand. But anyway, and 5 to 6 years to change a hockey program, and then you've now left a legacy, for the new coach to move in and pick up. I'm sure it's going great. Transitions are always challenging, but you've left, something for that new coach to work with. But having experience in like the team sports space, the hockey, this is a super interesting perspective. I don't think we've had someone like this on the podcast yet, but as a coach, across both sports, this concept of, it takes 5 to 6 years and it's a long-term goal. It's not, we live in an instant gratification society. Everyone's like, I want to download a program for 6 weeks and then run my 5K PB, and there are moments for having, you know, this epic dream and then going for a goal and there not being that much time. I see that. And there's also, you know, the flip side of that is if you want to do something like a miler or the longer stuff, 100, even just your first ultra, it's not just your first ultra, it's the gift of time is the best thing you can give yourself, right? If you want to do all the things right. And even then it will still go wrong in some way. But chat to us just a bit about like the long term, like the long game. 5 to 6 years, that's how long it takes sometimes.
Yeah, I think people don't realize, like, everyone's looking for the secret sauce and the secret, even I do. Like when I first started out, man, VO2 tablets, this is gonna make me run fast, you know what I mean? Like any secret sauce or recipe, like, because we do want to get instant results. And over time, firstly through this running journey, and then secondly, obviously through the coaching journey, realizing the secret sauce is consistency. Like, you probably see it in the odd quote and stuff like that. I don't think you see it enough. Like, I think it's something people should be preaching more. But the only way to become good at something is to consistently do it. So for me, like, especially with the running, like, you know, I wasn't a good runner. I was very limited. Like, I could never do a 5K under 25 minutes. Like, that was my number. And then just increased mileage to 3,000 Ks a year. Like, that was my number, from 1.5 a year. And then all of a sudden, you know, you're going under 20 minutes and stuff. So
unreal. This guy can shift on a flat road. He's got a sub 25K PB, so don't let his height and fool you. He is quick.
So like I think consistency is the thing, and discipline. Like this shouldn't come from me, but not eating that croissant, you know, and not eating that pizza, and not having that beer. Like, if you have ambitions, like, I don't have ambitions to win a race, so I'm gonna have my beer and my pizza and all those things, you know. But if you have ambition, like being disciplined and being consistent, like, I think that's the secret sauce, and that's where the magic is.
And there's definitely, like, with ambition to win races or to complete your first thing, to have that discipline, you know, and when you're going to do it properly. Like, be disciplined, give it up, do the things, go to bed early, stretch, do whatever your physio, your bio has told you. But then when you have the off time and the downtime, take that for what it is as well, you know. Sit on the beach, drink, have your beers, eat your pizza, whatever the thing is, so that it's sustainable, right? I think you do get some superhumans who can, like, just have that dialed in discipline day in, day out, their whole kind of careers. But for the average person, and average being most of us, you know, it's like having these fluctuations, I think, are also good. You can't be top of your game 24/7.
I think, I don't know, the thing that works for me is I want to say, these blocks. So, you know, 5 weeks, for example, I'm going to be dialed in, and then that 6th week, go absolutely mental. But then, like, you know what I mean? Like, to just say, okay, I'm going to be consistent and good for, like, no one's going to do that, and no one's going to want to do that. So I think if you have big goals and stuff, like, just set yourself these blocks. So even with the coaching thing, like, I would go to Curse, next 3 months I'm going to be nowhere, because I'm absolutely dialed in to coaching and DHS and, like, selling my soul to the school. But we've booked a holiday for 2 weeks in the Berg, you know what I mean? So it also means, like, I can dial in knowing, okay, there's going to be an end to this.
I'll have a rest and a reconnection time with people, and but for now I'm focused on the task in hand.
And I think that's the same with this whole running thing, is, you know, dial in, like, have I want to say, a mini race planned, and then after that mini race you're gonna have beers and pizzas, and dial in again, and then at the end of the race you're gonna go mental that week. Steers, whatever, bunny chow, whatever, Gatsby's.
You see, that's your Durban
Durban's the bunny chow. I realized yours the Gatsby.
Oh, that's so good. I was born in KZN, Bake, so I'm like, I claim it. I haven't been there for a long time, but I'm like, it's still in my blood. That is still the thing.
First thing I would do is go and order a mutton bunny.
Well, anyone who doesn't know what that is, Google it and then find your local spot and just go try it and then let us know.
Game changer. Yeah.
And Vix, I think, yeah, there's so much cool stuff coming out here, but as getting into the coaching space and coaching runners, I know that it's anyone from kind of a couch to their first 5K, and then you've also helped people, and we're going to get into it just now, but like do stuff like the DGT, unsupported. You've done it a couple of times, so you've got this like, lots of knowledge. Then you've got the hockey side, like parallels between the run stuff and the hockey coaching. Is there anything interesting there that you found, learned that you're taking like a learning from one space into the other?
Yeah. So, yes. So even in terms of the hockey space, obviously through experience and working with top coaches, and I mean, obviously, I want to say study, there isn't a degree for hockey, but like watching games and all that, like I've learned enough to be good enough tactically and technically and all that. But I think what makes me above average hockey coach is how I deal with people. And where I'm going with this is, again, with the running. I don't have a degree or any science behind it. But through running for 12 years and being punished and taking those VO2 tablets and not, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've naturally learned stuff, same way with the hockey. But I think, again, what I say makes, I want to say, me a good running coach. And I think what is dealing with people. I think that's the thing is being able to motivate people, being a safe space for people, being someone they can trust. Because in any of these journeys, like running your first 5K is quite scary. Running your first mile is quite scary. Like whatever level you're at, the first is always quite scary. And having this person is telling you, no, you can do it.
Yeah.
I think that's the magical thing. Like I've said this before with hockey, if I put 5 cones on the field and just say run around the cones, there's nothing to the cones. It could be a really good drill if people have bought into it and they do it properly and they trust. I want to say the same thing in running. People might disagree. Kirst said I must be PG in what I say here, just because there is naturally, as people who have spent years studying, and there's science and all that behind it. But I think if you like put out something we know what it's going to take to run a 5K. I'm just using an example.
Yeah.
I don't think that's why they finished the 5K. I think it's you being that support system and allowing them to believe that they could do it.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I'm like the science nerd is agreeing with you.
Yeah. So like naturally, in terms of the running coaching side, like, I want to, so like I'll come back and have coffee with you. Like I do want to dive into the science and just fine tune what I'm putting out. But I think it's firstly, training 8 months for something, like keeping people motivated for 8 months.
Yeah.
Like the science isn't going to do that.
No,
you know
100%.
what I mean? So
yeah, this sorry, Base, to interrupt you. This is we've had a couple of people allude to this. I think 2 episodes ago, we actually have a trail science episode. Simon Duvall, researcher, we spoke about AI and are we going to be replaced? Training load monitoring, are we going to be replaced? And the whole thing for me is, I mean, anyone, ChatGPT could write, but it pulls all the data from scientific sources in any case. So you have all the science, but it's the person behind that thing. The program. If I had to phone any one of your athletes right now, and the people that I've spoken to have already confirmed this, it's like I'm with Bakes because of, and the words that then leave their mouth are not the programming or whatever. It's he was there in this moment, or he motivated me through this, or he saw me in that dark place and told me you finishing.
Yes,
and that's huge.
Yeah. I mean, like. So, for example, I had 12 people sign up with me to do Comrades. 12 finished.
Well done.
And I'll never forget the one chick. I mean, her name's Jess. If she listens or not. Honestly, I don't know how she did it or whatever. Like, I can say it now. And she was doubting herself the whole way because she wasn't fast and she was like, But literally all I said to her is, you're going to do it. Like, what are you even like? There was
Yeah.
not even like a doubt. Like, you're going to finish the Comrades. Like,
Yeah.
just said, I need you to do 1,000 Ks this year. Like, once you do 1,000 Ks this year,
You'll cross
you're
that
going to do
line.
it.
Yeah.
Then she did 11:58. Cut-off's 12. She's
Yeah,
done the
proper.
Comrades.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
she's done the
epic.
Comrades. And it's just, again, I don't think it was the program or the 1,000 Ks. It was me not allowing her to think anything else.
Yeah,
But you're going to do
that's
the
good.
Comrades. Yeah, and like you said, I don't think any apps or anything like that can
Yeah.
replace that. Yeah.
I mean, with all this stuff, it's like somebody has to put in the work. That's the other thing I'm sure you've seen. Like, I have people sign up. We all get an endorphin hit from entering a race and like telling people we're going to do something. And then there's that brutal weeks and months of, well, somebody has to put in the work. You
Yeah.
know? And my dad, actually, he's like formed a lot of how I think about running. And he's also a classic Comrades bully. And he goes, every time, and my thing is I'm a total time optimist, and then I run out of time to do stuff, you know. And then he goes, just get out, forget the full session. He goes, get out for whatever you have time for, because he's like, this concept of kilometers in the bank. He's like, you're sticking kilometers in the bank, and then when you want to run your ultra or your marathon or your Comrades or your 5K, you're gonna make a withdrawal. And he's like, doing nothing, you're gonna try and make a withdrawal, and you're gonna pay, because it's gonna hurt. So whatever you've got the time for, you know, put that in and just keep plugging away, and until you prioritize it, it's gonna take long. So that thing of set aside the time, do the stuff. But yeah, when you have an athlete, it's like someone must put in the work, and that's hard, like, for many reasons. People have lives and stuff happens and whatever, and finding a coach who can be like, yeah, outside of all of this, I know, but like, just go do it.
Yeah. So like a couple of things on there, like, as you say, like, we've all got lives and stuff. So like, I think find a coach that, like, you shouldn't feel an anxiety to be ticking the sessions. Like, I think sometimes maybe that's where some coaches lose it a bit, and maybe it depends on your athlete. Like, if you're working with a top end guy, like, then there's pressure to hit the things. But we do have lives, and like, I've worked with people, and like, the more we develop the relationship, like, they were super anxious, and I was adding this element of anxiety to their lives. Like, I have to do the 10K because Jake said we got to do 10Ks today. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's where sometimes coaches do get it wrong. Like, let's be honest, if someone follows your program super consistently, they miss one 10K. It's not going to affect the goal. Not at our level or my level. I don't know where you at, Ems. Maybe you top in, but you know. So like I think that's like the one side. Like, you're dealing with humans. People have kids, you know, like, people have husbands and wives, and you know what I mean. So like, I think that's a big element. And then the second thing is, like, I've worked with some people, and like you said, like, they in the beginning they pumped, and then they just kind of fade away. Like, I mean, like, for example, I don't do it for the money. I've got a lack of job at Porus. I only do this because I'm keen to see people do things they never thought they could do. So like, out of all my runners, like, some like, absolute, like, there's all of them have their own story, and like, those are the things that motivate me and inspire me and stuff. Like, the Jess story is the one that weirdly sticks out, because she was someone who even I thought, we're not going to do this, but like, seeing her do it, you know what I mean? Like, again, it's like, shows anyone can do these things. So, and where am I going with this is, like, if someone doesn't want to follow like, I don't have any, you don't sign up for 6 months. Like, if this isn't working, dude, like, off you go. I only want to work with people, you know what I mean,
who want to change and want to be doing something.
Exactly. Like, if this is like some service, like, where you're going to, I don't know, Fat Butcher, and they need to be on point, and like I'm not that service, you know what I mean? Like, like, I ordered medium. This is a little bit, I'm not that guy, you know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
And for me, again, it's like more the human aspect than the whole science aspect.
Very cool, Bakes. And I'm like, we can go on about the coaching thing for ages, but I know that your ability to like motivate and bring people together, and we're having a brief chat about it in the kitchen earlier, came through now in your recent Hoefyster mission. So again, before we segue into the Drakensberg, for those who don't know, it's come up a couple of times. We had also the mayor of Jonkershoek, Carl Herring, on, who told us all about the things we need to know of Hoefyster. But basically, it's your horseshoe loop from Bortmaskop finishing on Stellenbosch Mountain. But to start this 40k route, 40k plus, you have to first summit Bortmas, then you start and you finish on Stellenbosch Mountain. So that's your official time. And then you still have to get off the mountain, which once you've done the Hoefyster, you'll know what an ask that is, coming down Stellenbosch Mountain. And what's so cool is, I mean, Bakes, I met you at the gate. You were wrecking. You were with Josh Raymer, and who else was there on that day? Can you remember? Was it just you guys the first time? I think I saw you a couple of times, but long story short, you bought what I want to call like a motley crew of pirates. I believe you guys have got a Viking thing going on.
Hiking Vikings.
The Hiking Vikings, mostly because if you're listening, go and watch the YouTube. Bakes has got a beard. Some of the other guys in the group have been known to either have a beard or can grow one. I want to say
we're all mutts. Like, that's what we are. And we just, we're taking over the land like a Viking.
Yeah. And these guys came together, or Bakes brought them together. And I think everyone had kind of met, but now you're going out to do this long like mountain mission adventure. Everybody's at kind of different levels of fitness and mountain knowledge, but tell us a little bit about that, Bakes. I mean, you also, I know from Josh's side, and he's going to be mad at me for saying this, but like, I don't think Josh thought that he could, and then he went with you, and now it's like, you just did the Hoefyster, so good for you.
Yeah, so I'll dial back, moved to Stellenbosch, saw these mountains in December, and I was like, Kirsten sat me down. I was like, you can't tag every mountain the first week here. Like, you've just moved here, because I had just done Siemensburg, Bortmaskop, Stellenbosch. Like,
she's like,
slow down, dude. There's a lot to do here.
We're gonna live here for a while,
And then I started chatting to Karu and Taryn.
Yes, great start. Epic goals.
So anyway, Karu sent me Hoefyster. I was like, whoa, because so I was doing a self-supported
classic Karu thing to do. The first route I'm going to send you to Hoefyster.
So I was doing self-supported GT. Her and Rodney, and I think there's someone else were going the other way.
Yes.
She was doing the double.
That was you.
Yeah.
You were the one that they saw.
Yeah. So
go listen to that episode.
So I was just missioning along, and you don't see anyone when you're doing a DGT.
Yeah.
And I saw these people, and I'm like, to be in the valley that we are in right now, you've got to be up to something. So obviously from a distance, because I was on a mission, I was going solo and I wanted to do it under 80 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you guys doing? DGT. Cool. Anyway, waited for them to finish, found their name, numbers.
Yeah.
Because people like that, I like to know.
Yeah.
So anyway, I reached out to her. The minute I got here, send me Hoefyster. I was like, man, this is power.
Yeah.
I think it was New Year's Day. So I've only been in Stellenbosch for about 15 days. Haven't trained or anything like that really. Put the GPS coordinates on my watch. Summer, I was like...
No, wait. Is this one of these things where you're like, I'm going to recce the recce by doing the whole recce? Like...
Started at 3 a.m. Got to Bortmaskop, 4:30. Had 3 liters of water in my bag.
Yes, good stuff.
Got to Pika, where I was told there's water. If it's Pika, I don't know. I've been told I say things wrong.
Yeah, it's Pika,
no water.
Yeah, high summer.
This is a problem. Anyway, I get through, what's that sketchy section after Pika now?
So I want to call it the slabs, but I'm going to get it wrong. Yeah.
It starts raining. Absolutely bucketing. I'm by myself in these ridge lines. Like, what am I doing here? Go down this thing called the Green Mamba. Like, yes. I was like, what the heck is this thing?
And anyway, for those, who don't know, I haven't done this section of the route. Well, I feel like this is the one thing holding me back from Hoefyster. Well, hopefully doing it one day. I'm not afraid of heights, but being cliffed out on the Green Mamba is really something that scares me. It's like, I know you guys have these epic photos, which I'm going to link but I mean, the photo doesn't even do it justice, and you can see already how crazy that drop off is, and one wrong move and a helicopter's coming to find you.
No, so there's a couple of those, and then I got cliffed out in the rain, didn't know where to go, because you're just following this thing on your watch. Like, it doesn't really tell you where to go. I only had one little rain jacket because it was summer, it wasn't supposed to rain. And even though it was raining, I still couldn't get water from anywhere. It was like weird. Like, I couldn't explain. I was trying to get water because I wanted to do this thing. Anyway, I got to, I don't know what the halfway point is. See, I don't even know the names.
It's probably like Berg River Neck.
Berg River Neck, that was it.
Yeah.
Got there. I had been dry now for like 3 hours. It took me 12 hours to get to Berg River because of the rain and getting lost. So eventually had to pull the plug.
Okay.
So I went down. So now I'd reckon half of it.
Well done for making the wise choice eventually.
So that was my first experience of it, and I was like, okay, this thing's brutal. And then did a DGT this year with the crew, and met this guy Anu. Yes, I think he did Pacific. I'm bad with names. Pacific Crest. And like,
he did the Arizona Trail.
Like, what a guy, and literally looks like a Viking, and he's huge and scary, and so you meet him, then he becomes the BFG, like such a good oak. And I was like, cool, this guy, and him and I linked quite a bit because in the DGT we were slightly probably stronger, so we were always on the hills together, and we got to connect. So I was like, I'm going to Stellenbosch, there's this thing called the Hoofeester or whatever. He's like, bro, whatever you do, lock me in. So there's my first guy.
No way.
Met Josh. He was obviously hesitant to do things, but I could see he was excited to do things and wanted to do things, and was limiting himself. So Josh, you got no choice. I made him head of nav. So if you're the head of nav, you've got to do it. Got to do it. Which forced him to recce and obviously dial in because he's the head of nav. You know what I mean? So just by giving him a role, locked him in. Got a guy called Iggy.
Oh, what a legend.
He's the biggest legend. He's a guy you have to have in any of your crew. Like, he'll die for you. He won't say no. He'll do anything. And we're still teasing. He's going to hate me saying this, but he bailed on UTCT 100K.
Oh, yeah?
So obviously now he never wants to bail on anything again.
Because you'll never let him forget it.
We'll never let him forget it. So Iggy's locked in. Then Zach's in.
Nice.
Know him through hockey and all that, and he's just a legend. And through that met this guy called Keegan, and like, we just developed this WhatsApp group, so random. Like, everyone is just so different.
And different, and you guys did different jobs, different phases of life. Crazy.
So random. And I was like, hey, these are the dates of the Hoofeester, who's in. Anu booked his flights, he flew. Anu sleeping in my spare bed. Iggy. Okay, we had like 3 or 4 of us sleeping in our place. Like, it was crazy.
The coast is like blow up mattresses all over the show,
and all that, and off we went. And 20 hours later, we got it done.
Real, unreal. And I think that's the cool thing. And Bakes, like you, bringing together like a random bunch of people who all love the mountains. You're gonna go do something hard, and then you just kind of let it unfold. There's something like so special about that, and we're going to get into it now for those who haven't done something like this. Like, I encourage you, like, there is such a place for racing and events, and I'm all for it. I love that vibe as well. But there's also, I think one of the most underrated things is like a long, slow day out in the mountains where there's no, I mean, you guys were following a route and you had a goal to finish, right? And some people do go for fast times, but ultimately it's just this experience in the mountains, moving slow, getting to know these guys, watching people interact with each other, watching people problem solve. Really cool.
I don't know, again, I don't want to take anything away from the race scenes because people do live off of it, but like, races are expensive. And it's getting more and more expensive. So yet there's these epic missions and adventures out there that literally only cost you time. You know what I mean? So
that's a cool perspective.
So for me, like, I'll try and throughout the year have these little missions planned, and then have like 2 or 3 big daddy races, and those are the focuses, just because it does add up. And also, like you lose why you're doing this. Like, the reason I fell into trail running was because of the berg and how majestic and beautiful and all that. So, like, why do people trail run? There's only a small percent that are actually winning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, for UTCT 100 miler, I genuinely do it because that route is just sensational. Like, I can't believe someone can plot a route like that. Like, it has just got everything, So for me, it's like this one big, long adventure that you can only do if you pay 6,000 Rand. Like, you can't go and do it any other weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, that one makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, and again, the Comrades Marathon, like, it's only cool if you go and do the race. Like, no one actually likes riding from Durban to Maritzburg.
Yeah, and if you try to do that without closed roads,
No.
like, yeah.
Exactly. So, like, finding, and I think it's all the races do. Again, I gotta be careful what I say, but like, there could be a race, I'm not gonna name a place, but at a place that you and I could go and do tomorrow.
Yeah,
so
I hear you. Yeah.
So, like, I wouldn't, but for someone not from that area coming in, it makes sense.
I know there's the whole, like, especially a lot of the, like, women that I work with, a lot of it's a safety element. You want to go, I mean, Chris and I were chatting about this, like, I think we planned 700 missions after just one hike, but it's like you can only experience it, for men and women actually, like, on the day for various reasons. Either, I mean, so privileged to have, like, people to run with, mates who are keen, and you pulled them together. But yeah, people, different backgrounds, different stories, but there is something to be said for just enjoying the mountains and having a long, slow day out.
Yeah, and again, like, the safety aspect is like putting together these cool crews. You know what I mean? Like, we never had a limit to who would join us. You know what I mean? Like, anyone literally could have joined us.
Yeah.
Obviously, you needed to be on the exclusive WhatsApp group, but
the Hiking Vikings.
The Hiking Vikings. But no, but like, generally, like, yeah, like, anyone can join us, and I think it's not hard to put groups together. You just got to start a WhatsApp group. Who's keen?
Yeah.
And if you target the right people, I think they'll do it. So, like, if Kirst really wanted to, she could start a WhatsApp group and could find a couple of people to do a 10K in Yonkers. You know what I mean? So, like, I think it makes it, I don't know, just a bit more memorable than a race. Again, I got to be careful here what I say. But, like, that Hoofeester, like, Keegan wanting to bail when we saw you guys and going, no chance, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, those are
special.
If that was a race and we weren't there and he was by himself, probably would have bailed. You know what I mean? But because we've locked in as a crew and as a team, you kind of do these things, and I don't know, the experience is just so much different and better.
And I mean, you guys had it must have been the best weather in Jonkershoek in the history of, no jokes, but it was a really good day. It was a perler. It was like sunny, not too hot. There'd been a bit of rain that week. There was water in the mountains, but the trails weren't, like, totally, like, muddy. I mean, you guys were looking strong coming through Swartbosch, so it was so interesting. Like, Anya and you running ahead, what you were saying, like, on the climbs, you guys coming together, hearing Iggy complain, and he's like, I'm going to complain till the end. And I love that. I was like, he's bringing this, like, fun side to it, and just voicing what everybody's thinking.
Exactly.
And Josh on the nav looking strong, all of that, I think. And then so epic, like, another cool thing was, as we hiked down, Kirst phoned Zach, and she's like, Zach, where are you? And I think Zach had wanted to meet up with you guys, and then spirits were a bit low at Swartbosch, maybe not for everyone, but a little bit low. And Haalkop is still, for anyone who knows that section, it's brutal. Always 3 times longer than you think. And Zach was like, oh, Chris, I'm busy hiking up Haalkop, like, I'm going to get the guys there. And Chris and I were like, oh, that's going to change it for them. Like, a new face, some new energy, and, like, just to do that last section. And that night, actually, I had dinner with friends, and I was, like, driving, and as I got out the car, it was just down the road here, I saw your guys' lights on Haalkop.
No ways.
And I was like, no ways, like, because I'm trying to, so we tried to track these guys with a spot tracker, which there's conflicting stories. Beck says it wasn't working. Kirst was like, I think he just left it on the bedside table by mistake. So yeah, we were trying to track and get info, but it's challenging with the signal. But it was so cool to see, like, the lights, and we were like, oh, Zach's there, he's probably picking up the spirits. And then you guys, you moved quickly, and then you did it.
Yeah, so Zach wanted to join us. He had work. So then after work, shot through, and literally game changer. Like just him talking
Yeah.
to us and stories, and you just get distracted. And
Yeah.
and obviously you get to the top and you got to come down.
Yes.
And like that's an hour and a half or so, hour
Yep.
with over 1,000 descent.
Yeah.
Brutal. So
yeah. And long day. I mean, you guys did a lot of rock hopping, and that navigation between Harkorp and Stellenbosch Mountain in the dark is tough. Yeah.
Yeah. So like again, like our goal was just to get it done. There was no time in our heads or like we wanted to do. Because like again, if you do it in 15 hours or 20 hours, you did the hoof day.
Yeah.
So like again, like if that's something that people are scared of, like it doesn't matter. Just go and do it. Doesn't matter if you take 24 hours and sit somewhere for 2 hours and you just walk with headlamps. Like just go and do it.
Yeah. I've got a dormant WhatsApp group, and we all signed a contract to do the hoof before the end of this year. And it's friends. One was in Norway, one's here, one's been in Gauteng, and I'm like, I'm gonna post on that group now and be like,
gotta go.
It's happening, yeah.
Like
cool.
don't let being scared of time be the thing that makes you not do it, because it is like, oh, if we're not doing it under 18 hours, we were literally like, one of our plans was like, let's just sleep one night. Like, like we didn't know where we were going, but we're just like, let's just make this a cool adventure. And then we're like, okay, sleeping's dumb. Let's just
carry on.
Let's just keep going for as long as we can. And then 20 hours later, and
epic.
Eating KFC. Yeah.
So is that where you guys went?
Straight to KFC, yeah.
I know you guys are like, Gino's is on the cards, pizza.
Yeah.
Bakes. So this is amazing. And I'm going to link, guys, all of you guys have, do the Hiking Vikings have an Instagram page now?
I think Iggy's made one.
Okay, Iggy made one, but there's a couple of, I think, on you like documented. There's some pictures. I know Zach took some stunning, typical Zach's styled photos.
Sensational.
Beautiful. And there's a bit of a write-up. So for those who are interested in what happened to the Hiking Vikings, I'll stick that in. But the DGT, the Drakensberg, you got married in the Drakensberg. Carbon was your like entry to that, the camping site. You've been pulling the wool and unraveling the magic there. When did you do your first DGT? Did you recce it? So Drakensberg Grand Traverse, we've had a couple of people on here who've spoken about it, have trained for it, done it. Cara Jordan, absolute legend, has done it twice, back to back, just machine. Matt Bouch has also got some amazing experience on that route. We've had a couple of people, but how did you go from just, I've seen it, it's magical, I'm trying to run Mafari Peak and getting lost, to I'm going to piece together the full DGT?
Yes. It's like, it's hard to put in words. I don't know, like the Drakensberg has energy. Like, don't know how to explain it, but like when you're in a pass or when you're on the escarpment, there's just, I don't know, there's just something spiritual in the air there. Like, it's only place I think I truly experienced that feeling. Like, what's weird, Honky is just a mountain. I just can't explain it. Like, it's like a power epic mountain. Like, it's cool. And maybe it's the isolation aspect to it. Because like Jonkies, if something goes wrong, like
somebody can get you.
Someone can get you. Where like just in the Berg, and you probably won't see anyone while you're doing any mission there. So like, it's almost, I always say, like, it's like that Chicken Licken advert, like the craving, like, I know, craving on your back. Like, every time I'd go to the Berg, I'd get home and just, okay, I need to go back. Next mission. Like, it was just, I want to say like a drug, like, is the only way to explain it. But it was like this feeling that I got from it. And then, like I said, Berg was Cobham, then discovered, and then started buying the maps, and then there's passes, and then there's different caves, and then became obsessed with finding this different pass, this different cave, this waterfall. And then you get into the community and people tell you their stories. And then there's, sadly, the stories of shepherds attacking people, and like, it's just this whole world up there. Like, you've got to be careful of the shepherds, and like
the weather element as well. The weather elements,
So like, I've nearly died up there. You know what I mean? So it's like all those, like, man, this is just, it's a way to get away. Like, I want to say, like, for me, it was a kiff way to reboot, with hockey being so intense, and my life, that side of my life, so intense. It was this way to get away. And then heard about this thing called the Drakensberg Grand Traverse. And I was like, and you go on to the list of people who've done it. And I think at that time there was like 30 people. Like the list was so short of people who've done a self-supported DGT. And I was like, man, what is this thing, eh? And then became obsessed with it and would go and do 50K kind of traverses and learn the different passes. And then
taking it on in different conditions as well, wrecking it. It's all very nice to wreck it on a good day, but it's actually when things go wrong.
So that's the day, is when things go wrong. And then I'll never forget, we went to check out this cave called Easter Cave in the Cathedral area. Good friend of mine, Sean McFarlane, immigrated. So he was my buddy when we were doing all this stuff, and we started hiking up the pass, started to snow a bit, wind was crazy, got into Easter Cave. Anyway, we heard of this guy, Colin van der Berg, Martin, and Anouk. She's also a legend. She was based here for a while. They were attempting a DGT, and we were sitting in the cave, and we're like, no one can be doing it in this weather. Like, it was nuts. Anyway, like 9 o'clock at night, like I think Colin pulled down like the wall in the cave, and we thought we were getting attacked basically, and these guys came in basically day one, and they were out in this weather, and they were like pretty broken. So we got to meet them, and again, like, here's this DGT thing right by us, like it's so close to us. I think they bailed at 100 Ks or so, but I'll never forget meeting Anouk. Now this is the first time I met her. Next morning, Anouk is up ready. She wants to go. The boys are hissing a bit. I was like, how do I not know this chick? Like, who is she? And I was like, man, who's this person? And anyway, Dowden got to meet her, and then we started a WhatsApp group, and we were like, we're going to go in October. Like, I think that was June, July. We were like, let's just set a date and let's go. Anyway, WhatsApp group going, we end up at Witsies Hook. Anouk didn't really trust us because, again, she followed me on Strava. Not big mileage. There's no massive trail pedigree. This guy, how the hell does he do a Grand Traverse? So she brought a guy with her. Warren. And anyway, like, you could see they were kind of first time
trying to figure each other out.
First
how's
time
this gonna
meeting
work?
each other. First time meeting each other. And anyway, we start the next day. Yes, as Warren goes out, hard. Sean and I are donkeys, like, don't do anything hard. Anyway, we're just going to hang on. Eventually, like, we talk to each other, but like, eventually we'll just leave them. Our job's to finish. Doesn't matter what time. We just want to finish the Grand Traverse.
The group can split. We're fine with that,
Yeah, everyone's got their own gas. Like, we just made sure. So we start. Yes, it's late on the day at Warren, not feeling well. And we're like, dude, you were the guy that made us go hard. But anyway, he's not feeling well. I think it's altitude and all that. So long story short, Warren eventually does bail at Twins. I think altitude, not eating all that. So we, Anouk stuck with the two donkeys.
With the oak, so she's like, do they have enough mileage to see this out?
She's a machine. She's an absolute machine. And she stuck with us. And anyway, later on, like, she says, she's like, boys, I always knew you guys would be the guys I could join to finish. She's like, because you guys are mountain guys. She's like, there's a difference between a trail runner and a mountain guy.
Yeah,
she's like, trail runners are going to do this hard if it's not working out, and they're not doing times. They're going to bail. Mountain guys are just going along and enjoying this thing, and no matter what, they'll finish. Like, that stuck with me for a while. Like, oh, yeah, I like that. I'm a mountain guy, not a trail runner. But anyway, day 2, heading towards Mafadi, a storm comes in. We hide under rocks. It's quite hectic. And we're like, what are we going to do? We like got GPSs out. We don't know what we're going to do. And eventually I'm like, yes, we can't stand under this rock. We can't sleep under this rock. We don't have tents because we're trying to do it quick. We don't have bivvies. And then I think we've got 2 sleeping bags between us. So anyway, I'm like, let's get to Unforgettable Cave. Again, we're like below the valley. We still got to climb the ridge and get over to Unforgettable Caves.
And it's a storm.
Crazy storm. pull out, start climbing the ridge, wind is sideways. Not even 3 minutes in, my waterproofs aren't waterproof. Like,
Yeah.
I am soaked.
Yeah.
We never had gloves on because we just like, we're going to get there quickly. Like, we get down this valley where we think the cave's going to be, pull up the GPS, not this valley, guys. Next one.
Yeah.
We're like starting to shake, starting to get hypothermia. It's cold now. It's gotten dark. It's gotten so cold. Like, Sean, I remember trying to put his gloves on, couldn't put his gloves on because like your hands, I don't know, they just become.
Yeah, you can't. There's nothing
use
happening
them.
there. Yeah.
And like we try and plod on, and then I remember getting to a point where we looked up, and there was just this massive hill we still had to climb, and I'm like, we've been in this now for like 2 hours, like the storm and dark. And anyway, I look over at Sean and Anouk, and they are both like my experience of it, they're both done.
Yeah. And this is an energy game, right? It's like you're trying to survive to get to the place that you need to. It's like essential that you get there, but conserving energy for like, if this is the point that you need to bail, you still need to be able to get down. Yeah.
So that's when we now in a valley with
Feel
no
like
shelter.
goosebumps. Oh, yeah.
And like I remember it was Sean, I think, who said, "Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here." And I was like,
No.
What do we mean here, guys? Like, basically, I'm done. Like, that was the vibe I was getting. Like, we done. Like, what done means.
Yeah,
do the
you're
maths here.
yeah.
Like,
Sure.
and I was like, I looked up, and it's probably the first and only time I've looked up, like, and then like I could die. Yeah, like literally, we thought we were. Yeah, I thought that was it. And just like this energy, like I don't know, came inside, and I just was like, yeah, not today. I'm not gonna die today. And just like grabbed them, started shouting at them. Okay, this is my experience. Maybe the experience is I was the guy who was dying, you know what I mean? But anyway, and we, like, I'm shouting and pushing, and we could only get one headlamp out because everyone was done. So it's my headlamp, and we're holding it, we're trying to get over this mountain. And eventually, because you got to find a cave. Like, that's another thing of caves. Like, they're not just like this magical door. You've got to like, yeah. So we get into the cave, and we're just all shaking. Everything's wet. Like, sleeping bags are wet.
Brutal, yeah.
Again, my experience, Anouk was like almost rolling in and out of like consciousness. Like, she was that far gone. So we like, Sean and I are trying to like make food and like trying to get us warm again. Anyway, we all now have to cuddle because we only got 2 sleeping bags. And long term short, we eventually do come right. Not a great night because we're obviously freezing and we're in a cave.
Yeah, but just enough to survive.
Just enough to survive. Sun comes up the next day. We look at each other and we're like, sun's out, beautiful day. Guys, we came to finish the Grand Traverse. And off we go and start day 3 and 4 and 5. And 96 hours later, we finished this thing. It was, I mean, we weren't even halfway when this whole thing happened. I think we were 90 something Ks in. It was 230 Ks. But we said, to finish the Grand Traverse. Like we had a couple of low moments where Anouk had to shout at us boys and say, you guys wake up. But that was a really cool team. Like,
yeah, I mean, and that's that bond.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You can know, that's like 10 years of friendship crammed into 230 Ks. It's like, we almost died together. We did something great together. We saw each other's best and worst.
Yeah, still got a WhatsApp group. Still talk to each other.
Yeah, that's the key afterwards. Are we still friends? We almost died.
Yeah, like that bond was just something crazy. And I don't know, the best thing is we said we were going to go and just finish.
Yeah.
And like no matter what was happening, we were going to finish. We ran out of food. We planned to be there for 4 days because of the storm. Yeah. 5 days. I remember Anouk had some cheese. And we were like snacking on her cheese. Like that was the only thing we kind of had left. But yeah, she's coming back to do UTCT. I think she's coming to the 100 or 100 miler. Could be a cool person to get on.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm already, mine's going there. But Bex, before, what do I want to ask you next? I'm like, this like mental grit in sports psychology, there's like different words for different things. It's like mental toughness, grit, determination. There's different categories, but essentially they all pull and play together to what you're talking about now. Like, we came here to finish DGT, and we did. Where does that come from for you? Is this like you were just born this way? Did you just come into this world being like, I'm here to do this thing? Or is this like
Yes.
learned behavior?
Yeah, I want to say like we make jokes about it, like a close friend group, but I reckon some childhood trauma. Yeah. Like my dad's quite a hard ass,
Yeah.
if I put it quite bluntly. And like he'd give you a hiding and you still have to kiss him goodnight. You know what I mean? So like, so like a lot of love, but a lot of
tough love,
a lot of tough love, like if we went, like we were kids, we'd play in the park. I'm saying you have to be at home before the street lights are on. Like that was the rule. Naturally,
you don't.
Soccer was really fun. We didn't get home in time. Bang, bang, little hiding. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know, like, if that weird, like, of hiding and kiss me later, like, you have to forget about the hiding. Like, I don't know if that stuff played a part
you like
in it.
forget the tough part, and I don't know.
Yeah, like being able to move on quite quickly.
A psychologist can come and tell us
Yeah,
that we're totally wrong.
I probably need to go see someone. But I think that's definitely, maybe like throughout our lives, like having to prove like your dad that you're good enough. Like, I don't know, like if we dive in quite deep here, but probably that probably played a bit of a role. And then I don't know, like through coaching and all that, like I've learned perspective is this magical tool that we don't tap into. So when you deep into 100K and you cramping, a 5K, whatever you're doing,
whatever that hard space is,
and you want to bail, it's quite a privileged thing to be able to bail. Like, you quite privileged. Injury is different. Like, let's just get that right. You break your ankle, you obviously can't. But if you're like tummy sore and like those things, I think you're quite privileged to be able to pull a plug. Like, I'll dial into things that, like, there's a kid who has to walk 20 k's to go to school. I'll never forget this experience of going to Mweni and seeing a gogo basically on a wheelchair on a dirt road in this township, like on a wheelchair rolling. I don't know, maybe she was going to roll 20 k's to go to the hospital. Like, I don't know where she was going.
Yeah.
But like, she has to do that.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
doesn't get the groceries,
doesn't get the groceries, hospital. Doesn't eat, kids don't eat, you know what I mean? Like,
crazy.
Where like we will take this easy choice of bailing. I'm just using as example. So like, I think put yourself in situations and environments where you can gain perspective and have moments to go back into when it gets tough. I think that's a magical tool that people don't dial into enough. Like, if I'm tough, crazy Iggy's my favorite guy, but I'll be like, my legs are sore in her face there. Imagine how sore Iggy's legs are. You know what I mean? Like, it sounds silly, but like, well, she's not feel okay. Like, I don't think people dial into that enough.
And like trying a couple of things before, and I think I'm trying to remember, was it Matt who said this, but there was like the difference between like quitting and giving up. Like there's moments for one and not the other, and like it's that perspective. And there's like so many books, podcasts, people that we can listen to on this. I love this stuff, like Steve Magnus, do hard things. I'm like busy being obsessed with that book right now, but I think it's so cool for me to meet people who are in like the similar space, are applying these things to like DGT, the mountains, this trail space. Super interesting.
I had UTCT 100K early in my kind of thing. I think it's 2020 or whenever it was, and the cutoff then was 17 hours. Again, I'm a donkey. 17-hour cutoff for 100K, not possible. But cool, let's go do it. And I got to, I don't know, one of the cutoffs. I think it was the second one before the varsity. There's a picture of me soulless, like dead. Like, I'd bailed before. I phone Curse, she didn't answer the phone. that was me ready to bail.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah,
She's
so
like,
I'm
bit of your
busy.
own medicine.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not going to answer my phone.
Yeah, so I'm walking and I'm angry with Kirst. I'm like, you got one job, like you're seconding me at this thing, like answer your phone. So I'm like angry, find a second win, pull into this place. That was me, done, defeated. Kirst was like, you're done. I think I made the cutoff with 30 seconds. She's like, you're done, like good enough, like well done.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be a hero to push on. And I was like, again, this privilege thing, I was like, I want them to pull me off the route. Like I can still physically, like I walk to this chair, I can still physically walk.
hear you. Like I want someone else to make this decision for me.
So like right now, I get that.
Yeah.
I still have enough to keep moving forward. So I'm just going to keep moving forward. And when someone taps me on the shoulder and says, Bakes, the cutoff is done. We're not letting you go.
Yeah.
Or if I physically can't move forward anymore because of injury or I've just gone that far over.
Yeah. Did you like let me find out between now and the finish line?
Yeah. So do this next leg. I remember going into the varsity, they counting down 10, 9. And I basically like dive into the cutoff like just in time. Like, so that leg was now, I was like, how am I going to do the next leg? Because you got blockhouse.
Yeah.
Like,
Brutal.
Yeah. Anyway, I sat down in the chair. I remember seeing the results from previous years. I saw some guy did 18:30. So I was like, hey guys, so if I go over 17, do I still count as a finisher?
Yeah.
Like this is where my head's going because I'm done.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll make a plan to get home. I'll crawl. I've got no injuries. And they're like, yeah. So I was like, cool. So, walking up Blockhouse and like I get onto the contour and then it like cut off 17 hours, Bakes. Cut off 17 hours and I just like found the switch and I think I did 16:58:40.
No ways.
Like 1 minute.
Wild.
But it's like that's the example like I want to use is like until someone says you haven't made the cutoff, like Iggy, you didn't make that cutoff and they were like you're not allowed to go on, or until you physically can't go forward anymore. I think it's like quite a privileged space to, I don't know, to bail then.
Yeah, like it's not done until it's done.
It's not done. Like, have you gone as far as you can? Like,
interesting. Yeah. I know everyone's got different stories in these spaces, but this is a perspective I haven't heard for quite a while. It's cool. No, dialing in and doing hard stuff. I feel like I want to run out the door and do something crazy now, or just normal for you, but inspired to try.
Yeah, I think we all don't realize how far we can go and probably limit ourselves a lot sooner than we should. And it's absolutely magical when you do go past that point and realize you could have gone more.
Yeah, that's wild.
I've never had the experience, but I've heard a lot of people when they have bailed, they've got in the car and then 10 minutes later after having something to eat and drink,
you're totally fine and you wish you'd gone on and
then they put this emotional Instagram post trying to justify it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you bailed, dude. Like, you probably could have kept going and you could have had that energy in KFC
at the end. I had who was it? There was an experience. I was on the UTCT route last year and I can't remember who I was with. I've been at UTCT a few times. It's all merging into one, but I remember hearing someone else, I knew them, but as they were crewing and the guy wanted to pull the plug on the miler and then the guy crewing him, I didn't know. And then it was like, are you actually like, do you need to, or is this I'm going to feel better in 10 minutes once I've pulled the plug and have had a hot cup of soup and a shower or whatever.
Yeah.
And he literally, and that was early days. He was like 60 Ks into the miler. There's a hell of a long way to go.
Yeah.
And there were problems to be solved, but it was like, nothing is life-threatening. Nothing is beyond this thing of you're going to feel better 10 minutes after. So let's just take some time.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out. And I was like, whoever that crew is, somebody give them a medal,
Brilliant.
know? It's like amazing, like just that support and pushing through.
And I guess you also probably like, as much as we got to train physically and go to the gym and all those things, like you probably have to mentally be in a really good space before you go and do these crazy things. Like I'm just saying, say you go through something crazy in life, like whatever it is, like someone's passed away or you're probably more prone to, it depends where you dial in. Like you could be like, I'm doing it for this reason, but you also,
that grief attachment.
but you also could mentally not be in a great space to be able to push on, you know what I mean? So like, I think with these things, there's an element of making sure mentally you dialed in. Like that week before, you've got a lot of sleep, so you're not tired and making like emotional
Good
decisions.
choices.
Yeah, exactly.
Give yourself a bit more emotional reserve, because that is it, right? Like life also goes on and happens. We've had lots of people sit here going like, this is what happened in the week before my race. And I have spoken to people, and we've had a couple here who it's like, everything showed up on the day, but my mind wasn't there.
Yeah. So
and that's I mean, that's a huge, it's not just, oh, my mind didn't show up. That's it.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, that's like, as much as I'm saying like physically and like injured and all that, if your mind's also not there, that's probably another reason.
Yeah. And looking after that as well.
I think people don't. Like a lot of people I work with, I'm like, just make sure you're getting a lot of sleep this week, because it's like, it's crazy. But if you go in tired, you just, I don't know.
You're on your back foot already.
Yeah.
Bex, before we let you go, we've spoken about your DGT. You've had some gnarly experiences there. You've done it unsupported. You've done it in groups. You mentioned just earlier when I spoke to you in the kitchen, you did a solo.
Yeah.
When did that happen, and what on earth made you go into the Drakensberg alone?
So the minute I finished that first one, I was like, I want to do this thing solo.
This guy really likes to hurt himself.
Like, I don't know what it is. Just I want to say, just to, maybe it was an ego or whatever, but just to like prove how comfortable I am, number one, with myself. I think people are scared of themselves and scared of dialing into their head and
spending time alone.
And so like that was a major thing. And then to prove my knowledge of the berg and how comfortable I am. Like I've dedicated a lot of time to the berg and to the trail running and the whole side of things. What is the ultimate test? Grand Traverse solo probably is the ultimate test.
Can I make decisions alone? I'm the only one responsible for them. Do I know the route? Did I make a good call? Very cool.
So like just puzzling all of that together. And again, like I don't think people do enough things alone and figure themselves out. Like we distract ourselves a lot, like obviously through social media and all those things. How often do we dial in ourselves and figure ourselves, and then you in this 50-50 situation, like what decision do you make? And then again coming home, like did I make the right one? Why didn't I? Like again
unpacking it, thinking about it.
I don't think we do that enough. I think we like to distract ourselves and act like we're okay. Again, social media, lots of lack of posts, but what actually really is happening,
Crazy. Bex, how long ago is that? When did you do a solo?
I think 2021.
Okay.
Yeah,
now
so
we're in
first one, 2020.
So I'm like, I feel like you're warming up for another DGT.
So we did one this year with the group. So I've done one every year since the first one.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Next year, the Hiking Vikings, we're going in April.
Great.
Yeah. So like we've got Hoofface there. We want to try sub 24, 13 peaks.
Nice. Yeah, these are my next questions. What's in the pipeline for you? So we have a sub 24 hour 13 peaks coming up. Another
September. No, so
Hoofface is done.
Yeah.
Okay. My face is like
we've done that one. Got another random thing we're thinking of doing, or release that later. And then obviously there's a cool race in KZN called the Mata. Epic race. You get a couple stickers. And you got to go to these little checkpoints and put your stickers, and it's 60 Ks in the Drakensberg.
Epic.
Small field, family field.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard of this before.
No one's heard of it. Yeah. Entries are like $300.
Unreal.
It's the coolest. Like I'm flying back to Durban to do it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't fly back for Comrades. So like that's the level this race is to me. And then obviously Mala next year, another GT. But
I'm waiting for you to get into these 200-mile American epic races. Someone who's going to convince you to do one of the trails there.
Yeah, I think we've got cool stuff, that I still need to need to find, eh?
Yeah, that's something that Chris and I spoke a lot about. It's like, what's on the back door step, and we need to get you guys into the Cedarburg.
Yeah. So we're going this weekend,
Epic.
but just to stay and kind of reset. But like we started this Instagram page called Lost in SA, where we like everyone's trying to go overseas, and we like, there's just so much magic in our country.
Very cool.
Same with the racing and exploring. Like, I think there is like some really cool ones that you don't have to. Like, I'm not sponsored by UTCT, but that race is sensational. Like, the organizing, the event, the people, the community, you don't have to go overseas to experience something cool like that, eh?
Cool,
and there's enough cool things like that. Yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah, try and dial in more. Yeah.
Thanks. This has been epic. I'm like, yeah, what a journey. I'm gonna keep you guys updated on the Hiking Vikings. We'll link the Instagram, the Lost in SA, the bakery, the coaching. There's just so much here, which has been so cool. Thank you for your time and sharing some stories.
Thank you.
We could have done a whole thing just on DGT, and I think I'm already like, a little round table, you, Karu, Anouk, like we're gonna have something cool brewing here.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks, Fakes, for joining us, and we'll have to have you back.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me.
There you have it, folks. Michael Baker, otherwise known as Fakes, sharing all things from DGT to coaching to his entry into the sport. Yeah, I think I took a lot away from this episode, but main things are really, when are you actually done? How far can you push yourself? And are you willing to go out there and actually try and do something difficult and problem solve? Not for instant gratification, not for the Instagram post, but, your true test of measuring you against you and, seeing what the outcome of that is, whether it's a success or a time, or whether it's just learning something that you then use in the rest of your life. So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. I really did. And I'll see you back here next week for our next one.